Benin, Jamaica, and New Zealand as a woman of intelligence, of wit, of self-knowledge, and of compassion. Since entering syndication in 1986, her show has received 30 Emmy Awards, 30, including 6 presented to Oprah herself. She is chair of Harpo Entertainment Group, which, in addition to her own talk show, produces primetime specials, made-for-television movies, and children's specials. As an actor, she received both Golden Globe and Academy Award nominations for her role in the movie The Color Purple. There's more. She's an incredible woman. She has earned critical acclaim for her performances in projects produced by Harpo Films, including The Women of Brewster Place, and others that portray women in true-to-life roles that convey strength and dignity. She is a feminist, and for that we thank and salute her. Oprah Winfrey continues to raise the level of discussion on daytime television. She has devoted herself and her show to a year-long series called Oprah's Child Alert, dedicated to giving viewers information and workable ways to help them improve the quality of life for children. The show has focused on some of the toughest, most emotional issues of our times: guns, poverty, domestic violence, and child abuse. The programs are often emotional, powerful, always effective, and they have done much to raise the consciousness of viewers and the public at large about these important issues. In 1991, she initiated the National Child Protection Act and testified before the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee. In December of 1993, President Clinton signed into law what has been called the Opra Bill, legislation to create a national database of convicted child abusers. There is more of... She says enough already. I'm not going to stop. Enough already. I've got the microphone. You usually have the microphone. I'm going to keep right on going. Oprah's Book Club. Oprah's Book Club is not only boosting sales for some incredibly grateful authors, and I see some lumps under the gowns of some of our faculty. I think they want to slip you some books. But once the book gets on her show, it's a runaway bestseller. And it's helping to introduce television viewers to the joy of reading and book discussions. And I was going to tell you something they said in the Washington Post, but I think we're getting ready to hear from Oprah. Through her movies and her books and her advocacy and her interviews with celebrities and non-celebrities alike, Oprah Winfrey has enabled millions of people to participate in national discussions and to hear a balanced perspective on often troubling and always important issues. At the end of my first exchange with Oprah 4 years ago at that first Parents' Weekend, she commented on Wellesley's magnificent campus and on the intellectual excitement and the spirit of community that she felt in that place on that day. "I wish I had come here to college," she said to me that day. "I wish you had too," I said to her that day. And I'm just delighted that Oprah has come now. You honor Wellesley College, you honor the class of 1997 with your presence here today.
My hat's off to you. My hat's off to you. Woo! No, you all have gone, girls. You all have gone, girls. I want to say thank you, Dr. Walsh, and to the esteemed faculty, to those of you parents, what you've been through, God bless you. And to the greatest class that's ever graduated from Wellesley. must say, you are my heart. She's right, Dr. Walsh is right. I saw you walking in and I started to weep. And I don't consider myself a weeper, but I guess I must be if I started to weep. Because I know what it takes to get through here. And I am so proud of all of you for getting through. Thanks for inviting me to the party. Thanks for inviting me to this party, this celebration. I told Dr. Walsh as we were walking in, my graduation was nothing like this. Nobody was having this much fun. When Wendy, Stedman's daughter, Stedman's my beau, fiance, don't ask me when we get married. When Stedman's daughter, Wendy, was looking for a school 4 years ago, no doubt I was far more delighted than she when she chose Wellesley, because I knew what she was in for. I had wanted to come to this school. I wanted to be here, but I couldn't get no scholarship. So I wanted to be here and have lived these past years vicariously through her. I was, as Dr. Walsh said, here with Wendy's father, Stedman, and Wendy's mother, Glinda, on Parents' Day, and I was in awe of this place because, see, you all seem to have so much fun without a keg or anything, and yet you all seemed so serious, so committed to this place with guts and with grace. And I saw your sense of integrity and felt your intellect and realized that this was a very special giving place. Wellesley is a gift to any woman who's willing to open her mind and her heart to it. It is. You are so blessed to have had this. You're blessed to have had this. Although I know your first year you maybe didn't think it was such a gift. Because I was there for a lot of those phone calls that Wendy made home. Daddy, this is hard. They just want you to study all the time. Yes, they do. And that was a freshman year. About mid-sophomore year, though, I think she'd had several epiphanies and realized what all of you had to come to realize here, that you do this for yourself. You don't do this for anybody else. And that everything you've heard about this institution is true. It is a prestigious and powerful place that will wear you out. But what happens is something, that woman thing starts to kick in around mid-sophomore year. We saw it kicking in with Wendy, that little woman thing that happens. She came here, a naive girl from Dallas, and Stedman and Glinda, I and all of those who love Wendy are grateful to you, Wellesley, for the women in process that you gave us back. We are grateful for that. You could feel the change. You could feel the change about a year and a half after her being here, because she went from, Daddy, this is hard, to, Daddy, I won't be able to go on the trip to Africa because I have to study, Daddy. That woman thing. You all know this, that life is a journey. And I wanted to share with you just for a few moments about 5 things. Aren't you glad they aren't 10? 5 things that have made this journey for me exciting. 5 lessons that I've learned that if I had gone to Wellesley, I could have not made as many mistakes. But 5 lessons that I've learned that have helped me to make my life better. First of all, life is a journey. I've learned to become more fully who you are. And that's what I love about this institution. It allows women to become, to the fullest extent of their possibilities, who they really are. And that's what life does. Teach you to be who you are. It took me a while to get that lesson, that it's really just about everyday experiences teaching you, moment in, moment out, who you really are, that every experience is here to teach you more fully how to be who you really are. Because for a long time, I wanted to be somebody else. I mean, growing up, I didn't have a lot of role models. I was born in 1954. On TV, there was only buckwheat. So, and I was 10 years old before I saw Diana Ross on the Ed Sullivan Show with the Supremes and said, I want to be like that. And it took me a long time to realize I was never going to have Diana Ross's thighs, no matter how many diets I went on. I wasn't going to have her hair neither unless I bought some. And I came to the realization after being in television and having the news director trying to make me into something that I wasn't, and going to New York and allowing myself to be treated less than I should have been, going to a beauty salon where y'all know there's a difference between black hair and white hair. That's the one thing you learn the first week at Wellesley. How do you get your hair to do that? What I learned, going to a beauty salon and asking them after the news director had told me that my hair was too thick and my eyes were too far apart and I needed a makeover. And sitting in a beauty salon, in a French beauty salon, allowing them to put a French perm on my black hair and having the perm burn through my cerebral cortex and not being the woman that I am now, so not having the courage to say, this is burning me. And coming out a week later bald and having to go on the air. You learn a lot about yourself when you're black and a woman and bald and trying to be an anchor woman. You learn you're not Diana Ross and that you're not Barbara Walters trying to be. I was at the time. I had a lot of lessons. I remember going on the air many times and not reading my copy ahead of time. And I was on the air one night and ran across the word B-A-R, B-A-D-O-S. That may be Barbados to you, but it was Barbados to me that night. And telling the story as an anchor woman about a vote in Absentia, California. I thought it was located near San Francisco. And one of the worst, this is when I broke out of my Barbara shell, because I'm sitting there crossing my legs, trying to talk like Barbara, be like Barbara. And I was reading a story about someone with a blaze attitude, which, if I had gone to Wellesley, I would have known it was blasé. And I started to laugh at myself on the air and broke through my Barbara shell, and had decided on that day that laughing was okay, even though Barbara hadn't at that time. And it was through my series of mistakes that I learned that I could be a better Oprah than I could be a better Barbara. And I allowed Barbara to be the mentor for me, as she always has been. And I decided then to try to pursue the idea of being myself. And I am just thrilled that I get paid so much every day for just being myself. But it was a lesson long in coming, recognizing that I had the instinct, that the inner voice that told me that you need to try to find a way to answer to your own truth was the voice I needed to be still and listen to. One of the other great lessons I learned, taught to me by my friend and mentor, Maya Angelou, and if you can get this, you can save yourself a lot of time. Wendy and I have had many discussions about this, particularly when it comes to men, although she has a very nice one right now. Get this is just, remember this, because this will happen many times in your life. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time, not the 29th time. That's particularly good when it comes to men's situations, because when he doesn't call back the first time, when you're mistreated the first time, when you see someone who shows you a lack of integrity or dishonesty the first time, know that that will be followed by many, many, many other times that will, at some point in life, come back to haunt or hurt you. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. Live your life from a point of view of truth, and you will live your life from truth, and you will survive everything. everything, I believe even death. You will survive everything if you can live your life from a point of view of truth. That took me a while to get, pretending to be something I wasn't, wanting to be somebody I couldn't, but understanding deep inside myself when I was willing to listen that my own truth, and only my own truth, could set me free. Turn your wounds into wisdom. You will be wounded many times in your life. You'll make mistakes. Some people will call them failures. But I have learned that failure is really God's way of saying, excuse me, you're moving in the wrong direction. It's just an experience. Just an experience. Just an experience. I remember being taken off the air in Baltimore, being told that I was no longer being fit for television and that I could not anchor the news because I used to go out on the stories. And my own truth was, even though I'm not a weeper, I would cry for the people in the stories, and which really wasn't very effective as a news reporter, to be covering a fire and crying because the people lost their house. And it wasn't until I was demoted as a on-air anchorwoman and thrown into the talk show arena to get rid of me that I allowed my own truth to come through. And the first day I was on the air doing my first talk show back in 1978, it felt like breathing, which is what your true passion should feel like. It should be so natural to you. And so I took what had been a mistake, what had been perceived as a failure with my career as an anchorwoman in the news business, and turned it into a talk show career that's done okay for me. Be grateful. I have kept a journal since I was 15 years old, and if you look back on my journal when I was 15, 16, it's all filled with, boy troubles, men troubles. My daddy wouldn't let me go to Shoney's with Anthony Odie, things like that. As I've grown older, I've learned to appreciate living in the moment, and I ask that you do too. I'm asking this graduating class, those of you here, I've asked all of my viewers in America and across the world to do this one thing. Keep a grateful journal. Every night, list 5 things that happened this day, in days to come, that you are grateful for. What it will begin to do is to change your perspective of your day and your life. I believe that if you can learn to focus on what you have, you will always see that the universe is abundant and you will have more. If you concentrate and focus in your life on what you don't have, you will never have enough. Be grateful. Keep a journal. You all are all over my journal tonight. Create the highest grandest vision possible for your life, because you become what you believe. When I was a little girl, Mississippi, growing up on the farm, only buckwheat is a role model, watching my grandmother boil clothes in a big iron pot through the screen door because we didn't have a washing machine and made everything we had. I watched her and realized somehow inside myself and the spirit of myself that although this was segregated Mississippi and I was colored and female, that my life could be bigger, greater than what I saw. I remember being 4 or 5 years old. I certainly couldn't articulate it, but it was a feeling, and a feeling that I allowed myself to follow. I allowed myself to follow because if you were to ask me what is the secret to my success, it is because I understand that there is a power greater than myself that rules my life. And in life, if you can be still long enough in all of your endeavors, the good times, the hard times, to connect yourself to the source, I call it God, you can call it whatever you want to, the force, nature, Allah, the power. If you can connect yourself to the source and allow the energy that it is your personality, your life force, to be connected to the greater force, anything is possible for you. I am proof of that. I think that my life, the fact that I was born where I was born in the time that I was and have been able to do what I've done speaks to the possibility, not that I am special, but that it could be done. Hold the highest, grandest vision for yourself. Just recently, we followed Tina Turner around the country because I want to be Tina. So I had me a nice little wig made and followed Tina Turner because that's what I can do. And one of the reasons I wanted to do that is because Tina Turner is one of those women who's overcome great obstacles, was battered in her life, and like a phoenix rose out of that to have great legs and a great sense of herself. And I wanted to honor other women who had overcome obstacles and to say that Tina's life, although she is this great stage performer, Tina's life is a mirror of your life because it proves that you can overcome. Every life speaks to the power of what can be done. So I wanted to honor women all over the country and celebrate their dreams. And Tina's tour was called the Wildest Dreams Tour. So I asked women to write me their wildest dreams and tell me what their wildest dreams were. Our intention was to fulfill their wildest dreams. We got 77,000 letters, 77,000. And to our disappointment, we found that the deeper the wound, the smaller the dreams. So many women had such small visions, such small dreams for their lives, that we had a difficult time coming up with dreams to fulfill. So we did fulfill some. We paid off all the college debt for a young woman whose mother had died and she'd put her sisters and brothers through school. We paid off all the bills of a woman who had been battered and managed to put herself through college and her daughter through college. We sent a woman to Egypt who was dying of cancer, and her lifetime dream was to sit on a camel and use a cell phone. We bought a house for another woman whose dream had always been to have her own home, but because she was battered and had to flee with her children one night, had to leave the home 17 years ago. And then we brought the other women who said, we just want to see you, Oprah, and meet Tina. That was their dream. Imagine when we paid off the debt, gave the house, gave the trip to Egypt, the attitudes we got from the women who said, I just want to see you. And some of them afterwards were crying to me saying, we didn't know, and this is unfair. And I said, that is the lesson. You needed to dream a bigger dream for yourself. That is the lesson. Hold the highest vision possible for your life, and it can come true. I want to leave you with a poem that I say to myself sometimes when I'm feeling a little down, although I really don't get down a lot because I know that every experience, when it happens, something difficult comes into my life, I say, okay, what are you here to teach me? And what I've tried to do in my life is to get God on the whisper. He always whispers first. Try to get the whisper before the earthquake comes. Because a whisper is always followed by a little louder voice, then you get a brick, I say, and then sometimes a brick wall, and then the earthquake comes. Try to get it on the whisper. But Maya Angelou wrote a poem, and I don't know a poem more fitting than Phenomenal Woman for this crowd. Because you are, and these words are for you. She says, pretty women, honey, they wonder just where my secret lies, cause I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size. But when I start to tell them, they say, girl, you telling lies. I said, no, honey, it's in the reach of my arms. It's in the span of my hips. It's in the stride of my step, and it's in the curl of my lips, cause I'm a woman, honey, phenomenal woman. Sometimes I walk into a room just as cool as you please, and to a man, the fellas either stand or fall down on their knees. And then they start swarming all around me like a hive of honeybees. I said, whoop, child, must be this fire in my eyes. Could be the flash of my teeth, or the swing of my waist, or just the joy in my feet. All I know is I'm a woman, you a woman, we're women, honey, phenomenal women. Now you understand why my head's not bowed. You won't see me dropping about. Or when you see me coming, It ought to make you proud, sister girl, I say. It's the bend of my hair. It's in the palm of my hands. The need for your care. Because I'm a woman, you're a woman. We just women. We phenomenal, phenomenally phenomenal, phenomenal women. That's you, Wellesley. That's you. God bless you.
Well, that was phenomenal. That was truly wonderful. You know, when we were in my office getting our robes on and our hats on and all that sort of thing, Oprah said to me, you know, I had a program the other day about commencement speakers, and I learned some things. I learned that, first of all, nobody ever remembers what a commencement speaker says. This was right after I'd thanked her for doing this. And she said, and most people don't even remember who their commencement speaker was. Well, I have a feeling that we're all going to remember who our commencement speaker was. And not only who she was, but what she said. We will all be keeping our grateful journal, and you're going to be all over it tonight in mine and all of ours. So, and Wendy, thank you too for we sort of put you in the spotlight in a way you might not have wanted. Thank you so much. It was quite wonderful.